Hello and welcome to part 9 of this series about object-oriented programming. The last part in module 1 about classes and objects. In this hands-on video I'll implement in IntelliJ, as requested by the specifications of DrawingApp, that the application should be able to work with circles as well. So I'll extend the library of shapes with class circle, because so far we've only implemented the rectangle class. And this new circle class will be quite similar to rectangle, as will become obvious in this video. And eventually we'll have to improve our implementation, which we'll do in module 2 when using inheritance. Let's quickly review the UML diagram as explained in the introduction video. Hopefully you note a lot of similarities between the two classes. The main difference is that rectangle has a height and a width. Circle, on the other hand, has a radius. Now, what is the quickest way to implement the circle class in Java? Since there are so many similarities with the rectangle class, what I do is copy-paste rectangle.java and start from there, as I will demonstrate now. This is where we left off in the previous version, demo 8. So let me first create some packages for part 9 in the lib class. Right click, new package, demo 9 similar classes, and in the app package as well, and copy the necessary files. Now, as I want to focus your attention to the essentials of object-oriented programming, I'll remove the code that I used in a previous version to demonstrate the mechanism of dynamic initialization of class members in the static initialization block. So I'll only copy the rectangle class from version 8. So right click, copy, or Ctrl C, and paste in demo 9. So let's have a look at the code. In the static initialization block, I'll remove the initialize dynamically part and keep the compile time initialization parts. Okay. And if I scroll down to the end, there is a load limits method that I'll remove as well. So no GDBC code in this version anymore. I'll need to remove the imports as they are not necessary anymore. And just stick to the course curriculum. Then for the app, so copy DrawingApp to version 9. And make sure that I'm importing demo 9 rectangle class. And check whether everything is still running. Run, and that seems to be working. Okay. Now, DrawingApp for part 9 will still have to be able to work with rectangle. So I add a comment section here, and with circle. Because what we'll do in this version is add new code, not changing any existing code of rectangle, but it means that the drawing app should still be able to work with rectangles. Now I'm going to keep this rectangle part a bit simpler. I'm just going to invoke the rectangle getCount, create a first rectangle, print it out, and print the getCount one more time, and remove all the rest. Run. Okay, so that's for the rectangle part. Let's now add a circle. So what I do is copy the rectangle class, copy, and then paste, Ctrl V, in the same package. Call the class circle. And then, as said, circle doesn't have a height nor a width, but a radius instead. So what I'll do is find replace, Ctrl R, and change height by radius. First change all the case sensitive uppercase height words. Just going to do a replace all, and width is not necessary. Remove those. Here as well, with the instance member variables, so height, I replace height in lowercase by radius in lowercase. Replace all and remove width. That comes in handy. My radius is already nicely initialized and I don't need width. Let's move on to the constructors. Our default constructor is currently passing 4 arguments, but the minimum width will not be necessary. So it must call a 3 parameters constructor to which we pass 3 arguments, minus x, minus y, and minus radius. Let's implement that one, and it's the constructor that is invoking the setters. So 3 parameters, we delete the width, and the set width will not be invoked. Now we get a compiler error because we have 2 3 parameters constructors, this one and this one. This one was used by the rectangle class, but we're not going to need it anymore. So what remains is this 3 parameters constructor. Now let me first deal with the height here. Set height must be set radius. So here as well, change the height with an uppercase, first letter to radius with an uppercase. And just do a replace all. The default constructor is okay. The copy constructor, let's rename this argument from rect to circle or circ. Okay. And we don't pass circle.width. And we want to pass the radius immediately. So we remove the width. And that one is chained as well to the 3 parameters constructor. So that should be okay for our constructors. Let's move on to see where there are some compiler errors left or other things we have to address. So the count mechanism will be the same. Getter for x and the setter for x is similar. The only thing is in comment. Here I have some comment regarding the rectangle class. Let's change rectangle by circle to a replace all. The getter and setter for y is looking good. Get radius and a set radius, which is looking good as well. We can remove the width, getters and setters. We keep set position. The toString, well, circle will print out x, y radius, but not a width. So remove the width arguments. And the last thing is that we need to change the formulas to calculate the area and the perimeter. Let's start with the getArea method. So the formula is radius times radius, or radius squared, and then multiplied by math.pi, pi, which is defined in the math class. I get a compiler error because pi is defined as a double and the return value of the method is float. So what I do is typecast to float. That for the getArea. The getPerimeter is 2 times pi as well, math.pi times the radius. And typecast here as well. That's it for the circle class. Let's test it in DrawingApp. Now I've got some circle code on my clipboard, which I'm going to paste. First of all, a get count for circle. I create a first circle by using the default constructor, a second by using the copy constructor, and a third one by using the 3 parameters constructor by passing 3 arguments. And let's execute that. So run. Now I don't get a compiler error, which might be a bit of a surprise maybe, because this client doesn't know about circle. It needs an import statement. Well, that import statement has been automatically added. Let's have a look at the output. So for circle, we have 0 circles created in the beginning, then the output of the object that was created using the default constructor, the copy constructor, and the 3 parameters constructor. And we have 3 circles created. The last thing is a getArea and getPerimeter. So here as well, just copy and paste some existing code. I just want to retrieve the area of the first circle, which was the circle with a radius of 10, and the perimeter. Let's run the code. And we have an area of 314 and a perimeter of 62. And everything seems to work. And actually, it does work. So far, for similar classes, DrawingApp now works with both rectangle and circle. But as already mentioned earlier, if we compare the two classes, we'll note a lot of similarities between the two. There is a lot of duplicate code. That results in a code base which is difficult to maintain and error prone, because suppose that later on we want to add a triangle. Okay, as we've seen, maybe the best method is to copy paste starting from an existing class, implement triangle. But then, just by looking at the getters and the setters for x and y, they will be the same in all three classes, exactly the same. Suppose that there is a specification change regarding the setter of x, then we need to implement that change in all three classes. And that will be time consuming. So how to deal with that redundancy? That is what we'll cover in the next module when we talk about inheritance. Now, at the time of this writing, I don't have any videos yet, but I have planned to implement that. That's it for part 9 of this module. If you like this video, thank you for pressing the like button and/or subscribing to my channel. Bye bye.